Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the On Time, On Target morning briefing where we invest in fire private precision on a daily basis. Today, specifically, we are going to talk about Bitcoin and Bitcoin strategy ETFs that are coming out next Tuesday, unless they get trumped by the SEC, which is still up for significant debate. So when you think, okay, I thought there wasn't any true, or there are not any true Bitcoin ETFs, and you're correct. And these are not true Bitcoin ETFs, even though they have the words Bitcoin and ETF in the title. It is a Bitcoin strategy ETF. So technically, since we are not allowed to, we, the US, are not allowed to have cryptocurrency ETFs, this is a strategy ETF, which means it consists of Bitcoin futures, which you can think of futures kind of like options, which most people are more familiar with options. But if you think back to trading places, the movie Orange Juice Futures, all of that, it's a derivative, right? So it's not the underlying asset, in this case, Bitcoin, it's the futures contracts that are surrounded. And these are traded on the Chicago Mercantile Exchange. So it's very different from a true asset-based investing where you buy stocks and bonds. This is often the options and futures land, which a lot of people don't understand. It's very difficult to explain, but they are index funds that are going to have Bitcoin in the title, which that alone may propel them higher. And also, of course, there's going to be the over underlying asset Bitcoin is going to be affected. If you look at the path of Bitcoin went back up to 60,000, or went up to around 60,000 back in May or so, and it's there again. So it took this big dip, if you will. We kind of talked about it as it's one of the major themes for the fourth quarter, and it's already Bitcoin itself is already up, well over 50% in the fourth quarter already, and that's 15 days in. So it's on the move. It's one of the major themes for fourth quarter of 21. And do I think it can hit 100,000 by end of the year? I really do. And it's sitting at just shy of 60 right now. So my point is, if people said, well, aren't you flipping on cryptocurrencies? It's like, well, now hold on. Here's what I will say is I don't know the end of the story. I don't know how cryptocurrencies will fit into this world 10 years from now. I don't think anybody does. I do think they're here. It's how they fit. Do they really go mainstream, or do they stay, kind of as a store of value / anti-government / all the different themes that make Bitcoin attractive to you? Those themes will probably still be around. However, here's what I will say from an investing standpoint, is a pure investing standpoint. I don't care what you think of the underlying asset. If you have a situation where you have something that exists, in this case, Bitcoin, and you have people that own it are not selling it. If they're not selling it, that's one thing. And then there's a limited supply, which Bitcoin is different from the other coins out there because it is tied to an exact limited supply. Eventually, it's still being mined, but it'll be mined out to the 21 million coin mark. But so there's a finite supply. People aren't selling it. I don't care what you think of the underlying asset. If it has any popularity at all, crypto / Bitcoin does, then other people are going to want in. And in that scenario, again, I don't care what the underlying asset is, whether it's, Chia Pets or Pet Rocks or whatever the Cabbage Patch dolls, it does not matter. The price goes higher at that point because you have limited supply. People aren't selling them, and people want more. People want in. So, we're set up for success here. Kathy Wood has called 500,000. I don't think I could ride it to 500,000, but I certainly do think we see Bitcoin over 100,000. And that's just math. That's just math of people want it and people are not selling it. So therefore they're going to have to pay more. Again, so circling back, I don't know the end of the movie. I don't know what happens. Whether the governments embrace it, ban it, who knows? Bitcoin's been around 20 years. The quote I read this morning that made me kind of laugh from a clever, I don't know if this is clever or stupid. You be the judge. I think both probably, but this is not your grandma's Bitcoin. Like what? So kind of funny, but also pretty darn dumb too. So, all right, that's what we're going to talk about today. We're also going to talk about, for our question of the day, what is the difference between an index fund and an ETF? Slight difference. But we'll talk about some of that towards the end. For the day trading stuff today, longs, we have Alcoa long that beat earnings. They're issuing a dividend again, and they're doing an aggressive share buyback program. So those are all of the things I love about a company that's going higher. I don't love that they're a big and industrial U.S. company. Those are generally not my favorites. But check out ticker symbol AA, Alcoa. There's also ME that is up 9% on a CNBC feature piece, and then LVTX has some drug-related announcements. Those are all going higher, and of course, the market's going higher. We had a nice big up day yesterday. We're starting the same way on Friday. Could it be a Friday? I do think so. Earnings are crushing it across the board, especially in the financials. And when financial earnings crush it, remember, a lot of us live in this financial world. So that's kind of a big deal for us. If there's a home team that we're all cheering for, it's that we want the financials to be very profitable and stable and the backbone of society, right? Well, we're getting that. That's proving to be true. So therefore, the market screams higher and everybody's in a good mood, i.e. Friday, not just Friday. However, there's one thing on going down, so to speak, today, gapping down, I should say. CRSR, Corsair Gaming, again, that's one we'll be looking at short. I do like that. And then Virgin Galactic, if you've seen that, they're on some delay / announcement or whatever. Their stock is almost down 17% this morning. It's Richard Branson and his space team there, and nobody feels sorry for Richard Branson like ever, right? So, okay, so that's what we have for today's show. Thank you so much for checking us out. If you are not a subscriber, make sure you subscribe, hit the notifications bell. You can get this when it goes live every day. If you want to join us in the room, $25 a month. I think there are some changes coming, but I don't know what yet. I have to make a decision on things this weekend, but may change the live show a little bit here. I think it's time for a little bit of a revision. And with that, let's go ahead and get our day started. All right, welcome back, everyone. Here is our lineup card for today. Check out the disclaimer here. Yes, the financial education presentation. You have to do your own due diligence for acting upon anything here this morning. Full disclaimer information is available at OTOTnow.com. All right, mission objectives: grow our money, protect our money, and live off our money. Again, I don't care what you think of cryptocurrencies and Bitcoin. This is just an opportunity to grow our money. And with the Strategy ETFs opening up next Tuesday, like I talk about in the open, that can't really do anything except for benefit the underlying asset. Remember, it's not the underlying asset is not going to be in these ETFs. It's all the futures and derivatives that are out there that will be in the ETF. But there's several of them, big names: ProShares, Invesco, Galaxy, Valkyrie, VanEck. They've all got them and they're ready to go on Tuesday. So it'll be interesting to see, first of all, A, if the SEC trumps it all, or B, they all open at the same time. Will be kind of crazy. All right, question: index funds versus ETFs. We'll talk about that. Flow, long, short, open, short, long. We'll do some long market review. Come back around to the long-term investing stuff, and then we'll end with some short-term. And then back to our question of the day. Where are we in the overall market? Of course, we had a fantastic big day up yesterday. You can see that right here. And again, we're on the move up higher today. A better chart to really depict this is look at this straight up move here from that is Wednesday. We opened up, kind of fell off a cliff, touched the low of the week, and it has literally been a straight line up to 444 here this week. So kind of crazy how straight that line is. But if that continues up, then, well, here we go. It'll be a Friday for sure. And here's our here's our charts for day trading. We'll be back to that in just a minute. All right, let's go over to CNBC.com and check out the headlines real quick. There we go. Nope, that did not work. There we go. All right, here's our futures. You can see Dow's up big. The others are up just a little bit. Let's go around the world. Asia is up across the board pretty significantly, actually. TSMC share soar. Not familiar with TSMC. All right, Europe is up across the board. So Friday everywhere. All right, bond 10 years at 156. Oil's at 82. Long time since we've seen that high. Gold and silver selling off, and in crypto, I think we do see Bitcoin over 60,000 a day. You can see it being talked about down here on CNBC.com as well. All right, as far as the individual charts for GBTC and MicroStrategy and all that, we will be back to that after we get to the open. So let's switch over to TD Ameritrade, and I'll be back with you in just a minute to open the day. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Friday, October 15th. We have 5 seconds of the market open here. All right, there's the opening bell. You have 4 screens in front of you. On the far left is a 1-minute chart of the S&P 500. It is clearly not zooming in, is what it's clearly. There we go. Clearly in the green today and powering higher. We have 2 longs and a short. So our 2 longs are Alcoa, kind of a legacy name, if you will, been around a long time, and gapping up on earnings, share buyback, and dividend reinstatement. We have ME, again, not familiar with them, what ME is, but they have they were on a CNBC feature, excuse me. So they're going higher. And then we have our short in Corsair Gaming. I kind of like this short the best. So we'll look at it the first, looking at a 25-cent stop. So we got 25.50. Our entry point will be 25.25. We're almost here at it. So if it hits 25.25, we're going to be in again with the 25-cent stop, looking for a 75-cent move. Trying to look down to see what the story is, but I know as soon as I do, it will hit. So it's tough to check it out. There we go. I should be guided down in significant supply chain issues. Let's do a smaller stop. We'll do a 20-cent stop. So I'm looking at 25.30 on the way down here. Again, it's short in CRSR. Covering up at that 25.50, which you can see is up at the top of the screen. So again, waiting for 25.30. There's plenty of volume. You can see at the volume bars down here. At the bottom, there's 25.30. It hit. So there's our entry point. Again, 25-cent stop. You can still get in right here. So there's our bottom line. Here's our top line where we're going to cover. And here's our arrow down, so you know which way we're going with the investment. Shouldn't say investment, with the trade, if you will. This is not an investment, it's a trade. Hey, nice arrow. All right, 25.10. We'll zoom out and see if we can get these drawn in here. All right, 25.30. So 25.10 is already at that first R. So 25.10. Nope. I'm doing bad math here. Let's get rid of this for a second. Go back in here and do our math correctly. 25.50 down to 25.20. Yeah, it is 25 stop. We're basically at it if I just can't add. So 25.10. All right, 20. I keep watching the, instead of drawing, I keep watching it. So we're almost at it. We're past the 2R point. 24.70 is the exit point, is what my slow brain this morning should be saying. 24.70, we're waiting for that, and then we're out. So again, 25.5 is where we covered. There's 24.7. We are out of the trade. Good looking trade this morning. I would not hold any of this. I would just take the trade as is. Okay. Since I can't add, let's recap now that the pressure's back off. So we watched it open here at around 25.30. It held the 25.50 high of the day, so we watched it come back down. We took it at 25.30 short. We drew our upper stop here at 25.50. I think I misspoken here and said 30-cent stop. It's not. It's a 20-cent stop. That's what was messing with me. And then we, so ours are 20%. That's our 20 cents. That's our R unit. And we went down 1, 2, 3 R's and exiting and down at 24.7. So that's the way it should look on a daily basis for a trade. So nice trade today. All right. Let's take a look at the transitioning out of day trading world into the what's long and short out there. Clickstream's a spec. MicroStrategy, we'll look at that chart here in just a second. Again, MSTR is how I use a proxy for Bitcoin out there. Again, I don't know any Bitcoin or any of the cryptocurrencies. I simply own proxies for it, which I'm not going to get in, I don't think, on the Bitcoin strategy ETFs, but I might. I'm going to watch them and see how they act. But MSTR is my Bitcoin proxy. ETHE is how I get exposure to Ethereum. And then the next one, CRPT, which you can see right there on the left in the yellow, up a couple percent today. That's the exposure to the entire crypto space. I think that is the best pure play out there. That's why I'm in it. All right, NEO's up, Delta Airlines, American Outdoors, MasterCard, Raytheon, Mind Medicine actually in the green. Don't see that often. DXC we talked about yesterday in the green. I saw Ethereum down here bouncing around. There it is. Got it. Up a percent. Again, Bitcoin's going to be the story today, not Ethereum, even though Ethereum has been the story. It's been screaming higher as well. All right, tons of stuff in the green. Who's in our red? Who's in red today? All right, SFWJ, that's a spec. Winners is a spec. Newmont Mining's down, gold, silver, so some miners there. Zoom, Twitter, AMD, Empower Therapeutics, Trade Desk bouncing around. American Outdoors, we talked about it twice, all right? We talked about it on the green chart, and then by the time we get to the red chart, it's already in the red, so it must be on the move. Facebook, again, a lot of negativity in the news. I wouldn't, if you have it, I trimmed a lot of this, right? Going into so you may still have it in your account. I'm not saying it's bad to have it. It's too soon to buy more though. I wouldn't hop in with both feet on trying to call the bottom in Facebook. I think there's too many unknowns yet. All right, MJ, marijuana thesis has been troubled. It's coming back, just nobody knows when, right? So I'm out of it with a lot of you. Again, looking for an entry point later, when it becomes an agenda item for the Democrats again. They have a lot on their plate right now: infrastructure bill, debt ceiling, inflation, Fed tapering, and then of course tax reforms, the big one that keeps getting slid because we have other smaller ones really taking over the agenda right now. Okay, that is it for the red. Let's check back in the green. MicroStrategy, crypto kind of leading the day, which is why I did our morning show on it. All right, let's leave this and go back to CNBC.com. I'll show you some of these charts and whether it's too late. So here's a story on the Bitcoin ETFs making their debut. Misleading headline, right? Because you're like, oh, cool. You would see Bitcoin ETFs may finally make their debut to the trading public next week. And then you scroll down to the first line and go, well, it's not really a Bitcoin ETF. Well, then don't put it in the title, stupid, right? I mean, come on. They're not pure plays. They are not actually holding Bitcoin. They are holding the derivatives of it. It's out there. So it is not. You have to wait for the pure play ETF backed by physical Bitcoin. The closest you can get is GBTC, which I don't like just because they have a 2% expense ratio. So they charge the crap out of you. They charge this huge fee, which obviously eats into your gains there. So I'd rather have some other exposure to it. So Bitcoin futures, the catch-22 here is if the SEC allows these things to proceed on Tuesday, it's going to be tough to say no later on the pure play ETFs. So it's a slippery slope. That is where we are on that. So I can see them coming in over the weekend, or they have till Monday at midnight to shut this down. Okay. I don't know. Whoever wrote the article said 75% chance this gets approved. Okay, I'll buy that. I don't have anything that tells me a better number. But yeah, it'll be interesting to watch. That is for sure. And sure, if it gets shut down, will the price of Bitcoin get hit? Probably. Yeah. I mean, it doesn't move you off your thesis just because you have even if it got rocked 10%, you don't care. If you're in Bitcoin, you're in it for the long term. And the thesis behind it, not what the daily prices are. So anyhow, that's the article. If you want to go back and read it, it's right there on CNBC with a misleading headline. All right, let's look at the individual investments. Here's MicroStrategy. This is the one that I like. It has not screamed. I mean, it looks like it hasn't screamed higher, but seriously, why is the mouse not working? All right. Angry. All right, got down to 500 or so there. It seems to be working. Now it's up to 723. So a little misleading of the chart, right? Because that's almost a 45% move here in not too long. Can you hop in it now? Yes, but go in for the long term, right? There's all kinds of a short float against it. So are there people who think this isn't going to work? Yes, lots. Lots of it. Jamie Dimon this week, I can't remember the exact term he used, but called it either stupid or foolish, or he continues, and he's the longest sitting CEO in the United States. I mean, he was in the chair during the global financial crisis. Obviously, he's, brilliant. He's like a mentor I've never met. I listen to everything he says, but I think he's wrong in this case, and that's okay. It's only one person out there, but there are certainly people betting against it. But you can't argue with some of these numbers. 340% in the past year. That's pretty good, I guess. So this is one I like. MicroStrategy is, again, pure play, or it's not a pure play, but a proxy. We have Grayscale Bitcoin Trust, which is the one I don't like because of the expense ratio. You can see it got down here to 26 or so. Now it's up to 44. So you can do the math there on how much that's up in a short period. This is a year-to-date chart. And then the other one, which is relatively new, started trading on September 20th. So that's less than a month. And we've been buying this up slowly. So, and again, it's trending higher. I think it's one of the best options out there for a Bitcoin type or crypto type ETF. Again, it doesn't have crypto directly, but it has all the industry players and digital economy. So really like it from a long-term investment perspective. High risk though, for sure. So if you are not in a high risk portfolio, you're just not going to have this. I'm not going to put that in there and then watch it go, from 20 to 10 on you and then say, what the heck was that? And it's like, well, yeah, it could. There's risk. So, all right, that's what I'm going to talk about there. Lastly, we'll talk about index funds. Again, index funds were born out of passive investing. So when you think of indexing, you're buying in the index. And down here, the S&P 500, newsflash, is obviously has 500 different holdings in it, right? So you have diversification through that 500. Russell 2000, obviously, they make no secret of how many companies are in there, right? So some people think, well, more is better. And if you think that, then indexing is the way to go. You just own everything. You don't worry that the fact that you're going to have the bad in with the good. You don't care. You're just taking the average, take your C, gets degrees, and move on, right? I don't believe that. I think the financial industry has done a fantastic job of convincing the world that outperforming the market through anything is impossible. It's like, well, it's weird that would be the marketing theme of, who's marketing these big firms that want to sell you index funds. So they tell you it's impossible. If you follow PhD studies at all, which people don't, it says, yeah, it's done a lot. And you would think, okay, if you're talking averages, half the people are better than average and half the people are not, right? So you do the math. But anyway, index funds versus ETF. Index is passive. ETF really just means that it's a structure. Okay, so index meaning passive strategy, ETF meaning it's structured as the ETF for tax advantages. So again, index fund mimics the underlying index, lower expense fees than actively managed funds. Passive investment strategy, i.e. lazy/brainless. Let's not try to even think about what we're doing. We'll just do it. Match the risk and return in the market. Where an exchange traded fund can be active, but it has some tax advantages, which aren't really covered here. But it's very efficient as far as you don't get the same capital gains that you do at the end of the year when you have a mutual fund. Right. So, all right, that's all I'm going to talk about today. Again, looks like a good Friday is hanging in there. So we shall see if we end up today in the green and continue up in the straight line up over the past couple of days. Nice trade. And with that, I'm going to let you guys go and we'll talk to you Monday. Have a great weekend. Bye.